All right, so today I want to encourage you with part 2 of moving forward, pressing forward, and forgetting those things which are behind. One of the questions sometimes people ask is, if I messed up, can God still use me? If you want to give your life to God, you want purpose, you want direction, you want meaning. Everybody in life, if there's one thing that everybody wants to know, is why they're here, why they exist. They don't want to just survive. They don't want to just live for no reason. They want a meaning. They want purpose. They want to make sure that they leave a legacy. They want their life to mean something. And man is always asking the question, why am I here? What's my goal? What's my purpose in life? And so when we mess up, we think that we can't reach those goals and those purposes. But I'm here to tell you that there's some great examples of people in the scriptures that talk about how, in spite of their failure, they were used by God. But even in regular life, even in life, you take the inventors of the light bulb, the inventors of the airplanes, the inventors of automobiles. You know how many times they had to try and keep trying and keep trying before there was electricity, before there was a light bulb, before there was a plane, the first plane was able to get off the ground, before the first automobile was able to drive. They had to keep trying and keep making an effort. If they would have quit when they failed the first time, they would have not done it. They would have not been able to do it. Right now, we wouldn't be having a vehicle, a car, a plane, light, electricity, or whatever the invention may be. Every invention is full of failures in the beginning. It's about trying and trying and trying and trying over and over and over and over again. It's about tweaking, about changing things that didn't work the first time and keep it up, keep trying until you get it right. And if this is not working, you do something else. If you look in the scriptures, take Moses, for example. Moses was in Egypt. He was second in command. And he found out who his real people were. And he ended up killing one of the Pharaoh's men. And then he ran for 40 years in the desert. And then one day he was with his sheep in the mountain, and God called him from a burning bush. And God said, "You're the one that I'm going to use to set my people free and to get my people out of Egypt, out of slavery." And Moses made an excuse like, who am I? I'm nobody. God, I killed somebody. I don't know how to speak in front of people. I don't want you to use me. Get somebody else. But God said, who made your mouth? I know God knows what he did, but God still wanted to use him in spite of his mess up, in spite of his failure. And Moses was considered one of the greatest men in the Bible, who was able to take thousands and thousands and thousands of people from slavery in Egypt out into the promised land. I don't know what your promised land is. I don't know where it is that you're heading, but there is a promised land for your life. And you can't let what you did in the past keep you from getting to your promised land. Then you have people like Peter. And Peter himself, a follower of Jesus who walked with Jesus. He was right there next to Jesus for 3 years. And when the time came for Peter to stand up for what he believed, he denied Jesus 3 times. I don't know him. And he felt like a failure. And he wept. But later, after Jesus rose from the dead, He said to Peter, Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. Peter said, yes, I love you, Lord. But Peter knew he failed the Lord, and he knew that he messed up, and he felt like God couldn't use him anymore. But Jesus said, feed my sheep. I have not done with you. I have a purpose for you, and I want you to feed my sheep. I want you to lead my disciples. And you know what? Not too long after, Peter was filled with the Spirit, and he preached a sermon that 3,000 people, over 3,000 people came to know God and gave their lives to God because of Peter. And Peter continued to share the gospel, the good news, to thousands of people. And God used him mightily to reach people. And then you have David, King David, who was called a man after God's own heart. The Bible says that God used David to slay the giant Goliath. Maybe 10 foot tall. Little David with a stone slew the giant because God was with him. But as David became king, he messed up his responsibilities. And instead of being out in war, he stood home, and he got tempted when he saw Bathsheba taking a bath, and he called her over, she being married. He committed adultery, and then he had her husband killed. And you think God is not going to use that man anymore. But David was repentant. David asked God to forgive him. And God used David as king to help free the Israelites and get them into the promised